Was that your idea or Marge's?
What?
To listing it, to separate it out, okay, that way.
Mine.
It's not a bad idea at all.
Thank you.
Kind of separates it out nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody else had asked a question about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna list it.
I'll share with you if you want.
I had enough last time. Alright, well, it is 8 o'clock and we can call meeting to order, and can everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're doing
Which item?
recognize the dead.
That'll be pretty quick here.
Okay.
Morning. Alright, is there any public discussion?
Yes, sir.
Come on up.
Curious, how much did you end up did you put any money back in that supervisor beaver fund, or somebody said you did, but nobody seems to know a number?
Yeah, I believe that was,
5,000.
5,000?
was it 5?
Yeah, I think it was.
Thank you, boys.
Yeah. Alright, anything else for public discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda and minutes. Okay, thanks Jack.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Right.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carried unanimous. Next is review and approve the claims. Has everyone seen those in your packets? Any questions? Otherwise I'd entertain a motion.
So,
Okay, I'll second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Next is the budget status report. Do you wanna?
Yeah,
highlight that quick?
so, this is something that I, after Brittany processes claims that she submits to me, and I think it would be helpful for the board to have it too, so after every claim run, it's something I will put on the agenda for you just to acknowledge and look at, so that you're aware of what the final totals are after the claims. There will not be one right now because we're end of year and we haven't processed that yet, so we can't post all of our end of the month stuff. So we will not have that one right now, but you
Going
should see
forward.
it every 2 weeks when we do the claims.
No, that'd be great.
Yep, thank you.
Morning.
Next up, we have a couple years of service awards. Deb, you're up first. "30 years, congratulations."
Thank you. Congratulations, Deb.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, Julie.
30 also?
She's not old enough.
Congratulations, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations,
Yep.
ladies.
Yeah,
Thank you.
have a good one. Alright, next we have the community health services agreement, and for the, and to approve having the chair sign it. This is for the Board of Health and the hospital already signed off. Jack, I don't know if you wanna say anything or
Nope, just their annual.
Annual thing.
It can be approved and signed.
okay? Any questions? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion. Okay, thanks. Is there a second?
Second.
Alright. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous. There's that one for you. Sign this, and then the next thing up is the approving the premise update for the liquor license for River Road Golf Course.
Do you
This,
guys understand that, or do you want Brittany to come in?
I saw it was in the packet. I don't, anyone have any questions, or do you want Brittany to?
Change, this is promises that they got, what are they changing?
It's to expand, storage to their basement or lower level, I believe.
Oh,
Thought I saw that in the packet somewhere in there.
okay. I've moved to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
To include their basement for alcohol storage.
Yeah, yeah, I knew I saw that in there somewhere. Alright, you got a motion and a second there?
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
any opposed say nay. Motion carried unanimous.
Or is he?
I do not see him. Don't know, I can give him a call here. I don't know if he'd be in his office or he may try his cell phone.
Jack, do I need to keep a copy of this for any reason, or?
If you want to, I mean, it's an agreement, if they want to keep
Okay,
it
I'll
on
make
file.
them.
Yeah, I'll take that contact.
Okay,
Yeah, I think you've got to keep them on file, because it's an agreement.
Yeah, we probably should have a copy here, I would think. That's signed, this is signed, oop, okay. Alright, Trace, so,
Or we can go on to other things and come back to it.
yeah, we probably will, especially if it isn't closed.
There he is.
Your phone's ringing. We're up.
Quick this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Alright, we are up to the discussion for changing the probation period term and pay change for EMS. Okay, yeah, I saw a couple of versions in the packet. Anywhere you wanna discuss or anywhere the board wants to start? Talked very briefly last week, but
Cause you're just wanting to go to a 6-month probationary period instead of a year, correct?
Yeah, these two
Part of
sheets
it.
here,
Right.
yeah. There also was a dollar an hour increase on those rates as well. Is what I proposed.
That would be two different motions or two different subjects, wouldn't it? I mean, it wouldn't all be,
they are on the same,
or I see what you're saying, if
they're on the same
if you
sheet.
started,
Um,
their pay would go up sooner, what you're saying.
well, there's
no,
two
there's
different
there's
ones,
an increase as well.
and you'd have to decide which one you're gonna approve, the one that has the rates that were approved in the budget, or the one that he's asking for an increase.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm following.
I guess, I have no issue with going to 6 months probation instead of a year. I think that's understandable. I don't have any concerns with that, but. Any thoughts from the rest of the board?
I'm fine with probation period.
Yeah, the probation period, that's good,
Okay,
good change, so.
Understandably.
any thoughts
As
on
far as
the
the pay
rest?
change, I guess where I'm at is, I already voted to approve the budget and that's where things are, so. That's something we can address next budget, that's just where I'm at.
Any other thoughts?
Are you gonna be consistent? That's,
It's one of the,
that's what, if you're not consistent, I'm not gonna vote for anything.
that's one of the things that was talked about a lot during the budget conversations. And I don't think it's not because any of our employees don't deserve a raise or anything like that, that's not the issue or the point, by any means. But
Yeah,
I do.
hard to increase in, pay in one area and not in others, yeah, again, like Kyle said, it's not that they don't deserve it, it's just, we gotta be consistent with it, so.
Well, can
I guess, I'll make a motion to approve the change on the probation period to 6 months and deny the pay increase.
okay. We have a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
Alright. Is there any further discussion? Jack, you got any thoughts or where? Okay,
Can I make one comment on the change of the probation?
yeah, yeah.
So when we
go for
make
it.
the change on that probation, just so everybody's aware, by changing that 6 months, the starting pay will actually go up
Yep.
$1 an hour because we're eliminating that first step. Okay, everybody understands that?
Yes.
Yep, I'm
Okay.
perfectly fine with that, yep,
And
and that's a good clarification, yep, that is,
Because it'll be 6 months, they'll go to the regular rate, so we'll lose that first step.
yep,
Correct, yep.
yep,
Do you think you have enough budgeted for that, Phil?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And also to clarify that if they're past their 6 months but don't reach that they're not at that year yet, they will get that change now, or is that?
I've only got one, and she actually turns her year in August, so we're only a month off on one
Okay,
Not a big
employee.
deal.
Okay.
so it
Everybody
mostly,
else we've hired has already got to that year.
it would mostly be new hires that you're
Correct.
Yeah.
trying to recruit, it would help that a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's good clarification. Any other questions or general discussion here? Alright, roll call vote please.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerks,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Nat,
Yes.
Stecker.
Yes, motion carried unanimous. Thank you everyone.
Yeah, thanks for your
Thanks
time,
for
Phil.
presenting,
Thanks,
Phil.
Phil.
Alright, oh, yeah, yep, that would be great. See you in there,
Yeah, he's coming, he was on the phone, so should be just a second.
perfect. Good morning.
Alright guys.
Morning.
Good,
Alright, so we got a couple things. The first I'm looking for is a motion to sign the annual solution support agreement for our software. So Solutions, as you guys know, we've been here a long time, is the primary software that we use for all of the courthouse. So recorder, auditor, treasurer. It also includes document locator as part of that solution. It's 2 separate items. The total is about $61,000. Some of that will be charged back to the assessor's office. They pay for their licenses since they have a separate budget, so it'll be slightly less than that. Do you want to talk about solutions a little bit, Tammy, or?
I can. So we were made aware, actually, when I was at the auditor summer conference last week, I was advised that 2 of our main support staff would be leaving. One left Friday, the other left today, I think. And then one more is critically ill and in ICU, and not sure if she will be returning. So we made some phone calls, tried to get some updates because they've already been short-staffed and our support hasn't been what it used to be. So after making some phone calls, we found out that they did hire 3 new programmers. They're from out of state, they're very familiar in taxes, but they're learning Iowa laws because they haven't practiced or done any programming in Iowa. So they are on board, and they will be trying to hire the 2 staff, possibly 3, that is leaving. So of course we had a department head meeting, talked about it a little bit with those of us that use solutions because we're a little concerned. Now is a busy time because we're starting taxes, and there's been law changes with Senate File 718 that has to be done on the backside with the programming on solutions. So we're a little concerned about it, but none of us there's only one other option for software, and that's Tyler, and none of us are in favor of that because we've heard nightmare stories from other counties that have Tyler. So we've decided to, stick it out, see where we're going, and hope that they're able to replace what they have and stick with it. So
And I think Tyler's a fair bit more expensive
it
too.
is quite a bit more.
So Tammy's 100% right. Solutions has had major challenges the last few years since they were bought out by Harris. They've lost almost all their staff that had any experience. It keeps going down. All of our support now is gone nationwide. All the managers are nationwide now too. So there's not much left in Spencer. We've been handed off to other presidents and managers that have 0 Iowa experience at all. I did get updated pricing on Tyler. For reference, I think Tyler's up to about 60 counties in Iowa now, where it used to be 50-50 or closer to 50-50. There's a lot of counties that are moving over because of all the solutions trouble. But Tyler used to offer a free migration. Well, now the migration is the same as 1 year of service with them, which is about $130,000 compared to our $60,000. Plus, they have an additional estimated $40,000 to $60,000 in support fees as part of their stuff. So it would be triple what we're paying now.
They know they're the only solution, so it kind of feels like they're taking advantage.
They
So
probably are.
And they absolutely are. They know that. And so I think I've heard another 3 or 4 counties that are looking at cutting over to Tyler, but it is not as stable as what we've had in solutions.
and it doesn't offer some of the things that we offer that we're all able to get will not be possible with Tyler. So we don't want to go backwards. And that's how I feel what we would be doing if we went with Tyler. So, and I think all of us that met in that meeting are on that same line of thinking, so.
Yeah, and Solutions has been so good. They've been rock solid, their server equipment works, it's very low maintenance for us. And Tyler would be a lot more labor intensive. They just are. Their solution is kind of been all kinds of different companies they bought, and it's Microsoft based instead of IBM based. So I think we're on board that no one wants to move there. However, if Solutions completely dies, we're kind of stuck. So for what that's worth. So again, looking for a motion to sign the license code support agreement. I've got a copy here for Kyle, if we can get that.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board or any discussion that way? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve. Alright, thanks. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous.
And that covers the first 2 agenda items of mine. The third agenda item of mine is Microsoft Office licenses. So this is an annual fee. Microsoft went to a annual subscription instead of perpetual licenses quite a few years ago. We split some of the costs with the Oklahoma Police Department. They paid for their share. Our dispatch center is split 62-38, just like every other expense. And so the county portion is just below 27,000 total. And that's Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft Teams. So, yeah, looking for a motion to approve that.
Alright. Any discussion or questions from the board in here? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, is there a second? Alright. Any further discussion?
There's no alternative to Microsoft.
No, that's, every county in Iowa uses, all businesses use it.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
All those
Yeah,
in
they're
favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous.
And I do know the state tried to go to Google for it, and they have to use Excel for a lot of their stuff because it just doesn't support everything.
Yeah, Google Docs.
Derek, did you have something to sign for that one?
I don't have anything to sign for that one. On that note, the AT&T conference bridge that you guys use will be going away in a couple months here, so we're moving to Microsoft Teams. There should be a document on there that has directions on high-level directions and detailed directions. So if you're gonna hold a meeting, you need to create a Teams entry, so you all have Teams. We're doing training on Thursday at noon next week, and then the following week if you wanna come for Technology Thursday and how to do it. It's very simple, but it's a different code each time, so you have to create a new meeting, so.
So will we use that same phone device, the physical device?
We'll be using one of your laptops is what I'm to.
Oh,
Whoever
okay,
creates
yeah.
the meeting.
Yep, that's easy. Okay,
Okay,
alright,
anything else from you guys?
not for me?
We're not doing document locator?
It's 61,000, it's part of the solutions agreement.
Okay,
There's not a separate document to sign,
okay,
but it's part of the solutions package, so. That was at 11,000, that gets us up to 61, minus the assessor's portion, so I don't need a motion on that.
okay.
Okay,
Alright, thank you guys.
Thanks, Derek.
thanks
Thank you.
Eric. Alright,
Here's this.
Yes, thank you, appreciate it.
now we have, cash on hand as of the end of the fiscal year.
So we have, recorder $200, sheriff 0, auditor 0, and treasurer $1,866.46.
Any questions on that? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Okay,
Cash on hand.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous. There we go. Thank you. Yep, there's that, and There we go. Once you're ready, man. Alright, now we are up to resolution for drawing warrants. You wanna talk on that, or?
This is a yearly thing you pass every year, that the auditor is authorized to draw warrants for the amount of payrolls. I think the resolution is in your packet.
Mhm.
The resolution number 072-2401.
Is there any questions on that? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Alright, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Oh, sorry, yeah, roll call vote, sorry.
Okay, Plath,
Yes.
Jerks,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Nath,
Yes.
Stecker.
Yes,
Thank you, Roger.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. And the next one in our packet is for interfund transfers. For local option sales tax. And, property tax to the secondary roads. So, any questions on that?
I would move to approve.
Alright, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Check
either way. And the resolution number is 07-2-2402. Any further discussion or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerks,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Nath,
Yes.
Stecker.
Yes. Motion carried unanimous. Alright, next up is the appointments and salaries of employees in all departments. This is also in our packet for the letters from department heads and the salaries for FY 24-25. Any, anything you wanna say on that, or any questions, or?
No, this is all based on what you approved in the budget, so these are all, budgeted amounts that you approved.
Do we need anything different in here with the EMS stuff we talked about earlier?
All that's changing
it's
is
just a probation, so
I don't think so. I'll talk with Melissa, and if she needs anything changed, we can change that.
Okay.
But I don't think so.
I didn't think so either, just wanted to double check quick. Otherwise, any questions from the board? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the appointments and salaries of employees in all departments. Alright, thanks. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous. Next up is the state appropriation funding for FY 24-25 for homestead, military, elderly and disabled. That's also in our packet with the supporting information. Anything you wanna say on that, Tammy?
No, Christie does this. It's another yearly thing that we have to do every year. And the information's in your packet. If you have any questions, I'm sure she'd be happy to come in to answer them.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Alright, thanks. Is there a second? Oh, I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous. And next is the prorated funding for ag land and family farm. That's also in our board with the percentages there. And this is just acknowledging we don't need a motion.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's ag land is 22% and family farm is 15.
Correct.
Any questions or comments from the board? Alright, we will acknowledge that. We should be ready to call Doug Carter.
Good morning, Doug, Carter in the boardroom. Hey, we are ready for you. Yep, thank you.
Alright.
Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone.
Morning, Doug.
Hi, Molly.
Alright, we're ready for the, agenda item amending the Iowa DOT fiscal year 2025 secondary road budget.
Yeah, we've spoke about this with the board and between the county engineer and the board of supervisors, so prepared a resolution to amend the 2025 Iowa Department of Transportation secondary roads budget. I can read that resolution if you would like, or it was in your folder there if you'd just like to act on it, but whichever way you'd like to handle that.
Thanks. Any discussion from the board? Okay, I guess I'll just say quickly, I think it's worth noting that these changes are, health insurance related when they were moved from spending out of, secondary road fund, and they had previously been moved to the rural supplemental. Or
Rural general,
General supplemental.
were they in general or rural?
General supplement.
general
General
supplemental,
supplemental.
yeah.
So it didn't actually change any actual expenditures in the department, it was the location of where those funds were coming from. But, any further?
May I ask a question? You just referred to a department. What department were you referring to?
Secondary roads?
Okay, because it did affect expenditures in the department, the secondary roads. Because the expenditures were were taken from another location.
Different location, but same dollars, right?
Well, general supplemental is taxed on all counties, if I'm
Same.
correct.
Same dollar figure, right?
Dollar figure, yes,
Yes.
but locations, there's some questions on.
Wouldn't be a difference on who pays the taxes.
Because
It would
You're
be,
still
yeah,
having the same
but-
amount of tax money, it's just.
it's dollars are the
Yeah.
same, but taxes and departments are.
yes,
Right.
where the funds came from would have been different, but the total dollars was the same,
Correct.
so. I guess, any other discussion? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion here.
I'll make a motion to approve, resolution 7/2/2403, I believe is correct.
Correct, that is the number, yep. Do we have a second? Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerks,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Nath,
Yes.
Stecker.
Abstain. Motion carries. And we need this copy signed, right?
May I ask why you abstained?
That's my decision.
Here's a copy of that amendment for you, and if we could have that signed for me, please. Thank you.
You got it, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Alright, next up is construction in the right of way.
Yeah, we have spoke about, tile crossing, Larry and, Tom Mergen have been proposing, they have gotten the application to us now. They would be boring underneath of B40, 210th Street, McGregor. They own property on both the north and the south. They'd be boring and then hooking onto a main a little bit west of that area. They provided all the information to us. The boring estimate is $55,375, of which the road department would pay 70%, compared to some work that has been done in the past. In 2022, we had 390 foot of, or $390 per foot for estimate. This actually is $435 per foot, so it's about an 11% increase over 2022. So I believe it's right within, the estimate is good, and I'd recommend that the board would approve of this request.
Is that the same contractor?
Who,
I don't know, Reitzel is the contractor, I don't know who they're having
okay,
do the
boring?
boring.
I'm just curious.
No, but Reitzel is,
Okay.
is doing their work for them.
okay. Alright, I would entertain a motion for this, right away, so, tile.
So moved.
Alright, is there a second? Okay, thank you. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous. Okay,
All other tile sizes, that much higher price too, you know?
I don't know, we just try to keep track of what's been done in the past and see if it's reasonable.
They all use the same gauge steel pipe?
Different depths may require different gauges, so we the Department of Transportation has a little bit of a design for depth of it, so. All right,
thank you. Anything else for the right of way?
There is no other request for work in the road right away.
Alright, we can move on to discussion.
This week, we're trying to do a little bit of mowing when full-time employees have time. We did have a tractor, an axle failed on one of the mower tractors last week. Due to the failure, we also took it was one of the new tractors, we took the other one out of service to try to figure out what happened, make sure that we don't have a problem with the other tractor as well, so. We're actually we have two tractors, that's what we're using right now. Construction,
Doug,
south,
on those tractors, is that still in warranty or is there anything with Deere for them yet? You
it's
know,
a Deere right now, and I don't know
okay,
what.
I was just curious, okay, thanks.
Bridge south of Titanca, contractor has cleaned up everything now. The road department is responsible to get some fill in there, the shoulder's built, and then they can put the guardrail on and it'll be completed. Down on the Boat Hobart Road, the north pier piling has been driven. They've been fighting some water issues and they'll be driving the north abutment when the time allows. Resurfacing, all of the HMA work is complete. County is filling driveways and crossroads. Contractor will begin shouldering next week. It's supposed to move in July 8th. And then traffic marking will be soon after that, and that project will be done. And then the DD60 sub 4 boring, they started work on that, and I don't think they've come back since it rained. You may notice soon, the clock that's in the southeast corner of the courthouse yard. That was a project back in 2001 when Kossuth County celebrated its 150th anniversary of being established. A group of people, Kossuth on State is what they called themselves, did the statue, did the patio, flag poles, and the clock. Well, the clock's chiming system stopped. And the Kossuth on State Committee is in the process of getting that chime back in there. So there will be chimes soon. Any work that's being completed on that is being paid for by the Kossuth on State Committee. So.
Okay.
And then Ledyard, they have a street dance, July 9th, and the road department is allowing the city to use some road closed barricades to block off their street for that street dance. Planning and zoning, the commission is going to meet July 15th to act on the solar ordinance, the moratorium recommendation. So July 16th, we'll put that on the Board of Supervisors agenda to approve of, to act on a moratorium.
Is that at 7 o'clock? The
That will
meeting,
be at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
So is that moratorium gonna be on just commercial size, or is it?
Commercial, yes. Energy that would be uploaded for this, only uses to upload onto the grid. This would not affect people for personal uses, some business uses.
Okay.
That's all that I have today.
Doug, when they fix the chimes on the clock, can they fix the time also, because it's 5 minutes fast? Sorry, I know I've told you that before, but if that could be.
Recently, have you checked?
No, but a couple weeks ago maybe. Is it right now? Is it correct?
Well, it might be, the power may be down right now.
Oh,
It may be really off.
well, if it's
It'll
fixed,
be-
thank you, I appreciate it.
It'll be, yes,
Thank you, Doug.
but I, maybe my cell phone is wrong.
I think I just looked up there, hopefully it said 2 something, so.
It's down now, that's okay.
Oh, it can't be 2 o'clock, it's gotta be after 8, but it might be 8:05 instead of 8:45.
Yeah,
All right, very good.
thank you,
Thanks,
Doug.
Doug.
Yep,
Yeah,
thanks,
thank you.
Alright, do we have Marge coming in?
I can get her, can we take like a 5-minute break when I grab her?
Yeah.
So that'd be
let's do-
okay?
Yep, that'll work.
And then Tyler can get set up.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Tyler,
Morning all.
Tyler?
Can't tell, is it raining out or?
It's spitting a little bit.
Okay.
Doing something different, like raining outside.
Are you gonna turn on the,
I had physical copies for everybody, so I just figured we'd go
Yep.
through.
that'll
You go
be
through these, of course, during the actual hearing, I'll project and everything. that
Right,
way,
right.
but, I figured just for today's sake here, have a discussion, just with paper copies and
That'll work.
go from there.
And, in our packet, we got possible date for August 20th. Is that something Marge talked to you about, or?
I don't know that I had heard that potential date, but let me check. That, I'm wide open, so that'd be good there on that one.
Perfect. Saw you had some nice pictures in here.
Yeah, it's,
Of the
that was
ocean.
from early this season.
Yeah, that was before the big rain.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna say, where's that lake at?
That would be,
That is.
well, which one?
Yeah, the ones that are featured there is at 70th
Yeah,
Avenue, so the
that's,
second.
that's along the tile system, that's kinda where the first section comes up and then it branches apart, it's right after that.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
But you can almost see the.
Oh yeah, you can see it all, so like,
Yeah.
where they branch there, but if you get a little bit higher up in here, it would drain pretty much both of those lots. This one for sure is bad, but that stretches a long ways through there. But,
Yeah, and there's infinitely different, many options that can be done here, so.
yeah,
be a lot of room for discussion at the hearing based on desires and capacities
Well,
and distances.
I think with the field conditions right now, it's pretty easy to say that the area needs it.
Yeah, it's.
Could one option be that it stopped raining so much?
I've said, I said this about 15 minutes ago in a staffing meeting, cause they said, well, heard you got rain again, and it's like, you know, for 3 years, I called on the rain, and
You got it all.
I've stopped, I have since stopped, it's okay, we're good here now, thank you, you go away.
Yeah, take a break. We'll need it again, just not right now.
I count myself lucky. I've been getting firsthand accounts from my parents on Spencer's condition, and it's just.
Yeah,
Uh,
were they impacted by the water? Or
they
were
lived a block far enough north that they
that's
escaped
close.
it.
That's
And by a block far enough north, if people know where the High V in Spencer is, they live a block north of that, and we're watching water come up the street. So that's all the way through downtown, through historic Grand, through there, all the way up there. And they were watching water come up the street, because it was back feeding the storm sewer that badly, that it was just coughing out and flooding out, so.
Well, they live right by the courthouse. Not too far.
Not too far from it, yeah, so it's, you know,
Just a little north of the courthouse.
yeah, I mean, it's just wild how far, and that's on the north side where it wasn't as bad. The south side is.
Well, in the way north, that's lower.
Right.
Yeah. Where you come in to Spencer.
Right, yeah, so kind of because Morton Building was one of the first places there that caught it. At one point,
Didn't they have?
At
stuff
one
all
point,
over?
from the only way to have gotten to the south side of Spencer was from the south. It's like I looked at, okay, am I gonna have to come over and start sandbagging or what? And there would not have been a way for me to get into town.
Yep.
Because north was flooded.
It was over the road north, but it never got.
Being
any
a hog.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That,
Okay,
the-
I'll share.
I had
I'm a good
heard,
sharer.
because the firehouse
Okay.
is just on the
Yeah.
north side of the bridge there.
Right.
They got all their equipment out because the firehouse flooded, and Storm Lake had to send their fire and rescue up because that was the only way. The Beltway was flooded, you
Well,
just.
Casey's gas station was under.
My dad had a picture, you couldn't see the doors to the J.C. Penney's at the mall.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's, the,
Yeah, Hobby Lobby is 4 foot underwater.
yeah,
Well,
and
and I
that,
saw and Dairy Queen.
Dairy
with it at the
Queen,
roof.
it had the
basically.
water at the red ring of the dairy.
See the top of the DQ.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
People, businesses probably have insurance.
I would imagine not, I can't say, but what comes back
I know some of
is-
them being in the floodplain, if they have a mortgage, it requires them to have flood insurance, but
if you
but
don't,
if you don't, then it's, yeah.
Yeah, we'll
But,
see,
yeah, what's
but
the floodplain?
Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know.
anything's in the floodplain if you're talking about the right, if you're talking about the right one, you know,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Right.
so.
I'm gonna build
But-
an arch
So where's
again.
the levee that broke? Nobody can tell me that.
That's, I treat that as rumor until I've heard something
I didn't
more.
know there was any levees north of Spencer.
That strikes me as a tale, something was said and then, because I always considered the levee was just that south wall of East Leach Park that's there. And if that gives, it's worse than 93 and nobody wants to talk about it. And that's where we were and then some. So, but I don't.
But it just went over the top. I don't know what it failed.
Yeah, well, yeah, it failed in that it was not
underwater.
It wasn't 8 foot taller
Yeah.
than it was, but anyhow, talking water.
Yeah. Speaking of that.
Well, you're gonna now size these for.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, when
Do
we
we-
get the 500-year historic event, this will not,
Do you wanna,
Coefficients of 6?
do you wanna come back with an open ditch option?
Yeah, right, yeah, and even then, anyhow. I can get to
Fire away,
this if
wherever
we're,
you're-
if we're ready.
Yep,
This is the engineer's report for the response to the petition for the review of improvements to Drainage District Number 4, lateral 40 and 42. On the attached preliminary plans, sheet AO2, the second sheet, there is an outline of the facility locations. There are also some attached plats in Appendix D and E, I believe, are the correct ones. I know they're in here. Those are the right ones. Outlining the district, the areas, as well as we'll get to the wetland determination maps. So this was a call for a improvement of those two laterals again. There was an informational meeting December of last year where it was decided or input from landowners gave better heading. There wasn't really anything decided at the informational meeting. But it gave us, as the engineers, better heading towards what was potentially desired. The look there was to evaluate the 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch coefficients. Pretty standard practice now in the realm of improvements. For the entirety of the system. Looking through the history on this, after the district's establishment, these facilities were constructed in 1916, and nothing of really any substance has been done to them ever since. They do have 2 separate schedules, I believe. Mark, correct me on that if I'm wrong, but they do have 2 separate schedules. The current capacities of the system are what you would expect from a system that was built in the early 1900s, and that is drainage coefficients of less than a 10. So you're looking at, for the lowest section of the main, which is an 18 inch, its capacity is 0.078 inches per day. That capacity then is being shown in the photos that we've attached. Again, I remind people this year is far from a return to normal. A lot of water, but there is a considerable amount standing out there. Just for example, for that lower section to get the 1/2 inch drainage coefficient, it would require a 36 inch pipe. For the 3/4, you're looking at a 42, and for the 1 inch, it'd be a 48 inch pipe, comparing that to an 18 inch as it currently is. Of course, with improvement projects, there comes 3 really important things to keep in mind. One, I'm getting out of order here on the report, but one is remonstrance. That is, if 50% of the landowners by count owning 70% of the land in aggregate object, that ends the project right there. 2, and one of the reasons that from December till now, we gave that amount of time to get the report in, is the farm program compliance. Any wetlands that are in the watershed during improvement projects, I can't speak exactly, but in my experience, those are always deemed to be converted. So any sort of farm wetland becomes converted wetlands and would then require mitigation at a minimum. We gave that amount of time, and at the informational meeting, we let all the landowners know. We sent notice to everyone requesting that they get their certified wetland determinations. The information that was received back to our office is attached in Appendix D. The map that is showing the areas, the non-wetlands or prior converted is all in green, and the farmed wetlands are shown in red.
In this watershed, there are two that have been reported to us. The areas of which is in total about 9.87 acres. That's rather significant on this size. A wetland,
Is that on one or the other, most of it on one or the other laterals?
it would be,
On lateral.
the one is going to be affected mostly by lateral 40, the other is largely affected by lateral 42. But, and there's some room for argument about whether or not improvements to lateral 40 would, let's say if landowners just wanted to go up to that Y, how much of an impact that has on that wetland on lateral 42.
Right.
But I don't work for the NRCS office and I can't say what they would say. Ultimately, the mitigation of those wetlands is the responsibility of the landowner, but there have been instances in the past where a cost sharing from district landowners is considered.
Is there any land even to mitigate?
There are, the last I checked, and this was a couple of days ago, that based on, for the prices that are in here, there are credits available. They are $15,000 an acre. Yeah, so it's a steep cost on that. The Wetland Mitigation Bank I looked at said there was no maximum or minimum credit availability.
I've always thought that if we went around those spots instead of through them, would we have to mitigate it?
I can't, that we would need to talk to we need to get input from the jurisdictional
Okay.
NRCS.
Wouldn't it make sense?
In my mind, but I've seen a lot of things that should make sense, not make sense.
Yeah.
So,
Cause
and I don't wanna stand here and make any sort of promise or say we would absolutely be able to avoid mitigation, and as such, that's why we included in the cost estimate, not necessarily a recommendation of coverage, but a worst case scenario for consideration of what that cost would be for that mitigation.
Like land 40, it really wouldn't make any difference where you run that tile.
Right, well, right. Especially the lower segment.
Well, if you just bring it up to where they kind of Y together, which is what I've heard a few are interested in, and I'm sure we'll have that conversation at the hearing. But if you brought it up right to the corner of those three property lines, you wouldn't quite be in the wet spot anyway. So depending on how NRCS would look at that, we might be able to avoid some of it that way.
You're talking just bringing lat 40 up to the Y.
Yeah, right up to the corner of Cynthia Arndorfer, Paul Borman, and Gertis family.
Just really 12 and 15 don't equal 18.
What's that?
Your coefficient for the 12 and 15 inch tile going into an 18 inch, unless there's a lot of fall on 18 inches.
That 18 and we heard it at the informational meeting, it's just, even at the time that this was constructed, it was minimal. It was under, that area has been underserved since its establishment.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're really looking at the watershed of just a little over 1,100 acres. So a smaller system, but very, very flat and very, very small. I mean, 18 is.
Well, and did you guys get, documentation of the tiling on the west side of 60th Avenue? Because we talked about that at the informational meeting.
What we haven't, as always, we don't know private tiles or where runs have extended. But what we have modeled is the watershed that would exist
were lateral 40 to cross the road.
Okay,
So if you had access to it, what would naturally flow to that system versus the tile that's to the north, that is what is represented here in the red line. So that the acres and the cost per acre have been revised to reflect that.
okay.
So far, all I see is flat.
Yeah, yes, and that's why you're going for a relatively small, the lower 3,000 feet is at a 0.08%. So,
Flat.
your ditch percentages that you'd be looking at, so. The last then consideration for, improvement projects is then reclassification of benefits on the schedules. These two laterals do have separate schedules. However, improvements to them is deemed a change in relative benefit received, especially if you were to improve just a lower portion of the tile and not the upper portion. That, in my mind, is grounds for where the code has provisions for the splitting of a schedule into essentially a new improved portion and an upper maintained portion. We've seen that done before.
Did you look at just splitting it and running, splitting 12 off the 18 and paralleling the 18?
There's
Running a whole separate pipe.
basically a relief up there.
Right.
There's the potential to do that. One of the reasons I'm not a big fan of doing that is that you've got a relief and you've picked up some capacity there with your new line, but it doesn't relieve the district's responsibility to that old line, which is over 100 years old.
Is it bad?
Well,
I think, from what I know about it, like the main portion of that lateral 40, I think that's fairly good and clean, and that may be something the landowners might be interested in keeping potentially, because I think it gets more depth as it gets back into that hillside.
it's
But-
not necessarily an issue of its condition. I have pretty good faith that it's still serviceable, but it's not gonna last as long as a new, you'd be kind of stair stepping in your potential repairs that way. And so sometimes just for that reason, I like to see them, I don't like to put that, liability on the district that you could potentially be back here spending money again on a system that is
It'd be a lot,
divided by 100 years like that.
it'd be a lot cleaner if the district's responsibility
And
was
even
to-
even in the cases where facilities are left, not crushed in place, I like to still have the system sized for the desires of the district, with an understanding that the system wouldn't be less than what they paid for in the event that the older line failed as a result of age. Just as a countermeasure to not, I don't wanna go out there and spend people's good money and have the system then at some point shut off and not be working.
Well, and then.
Just
come back.
just considerations, I'm not saying things can't be done, just a counter argument to that. Just something to consider in the event that those options come up. Sorry, I stepped on it while I go to
You're
the,
good, you're good.
while I go to the cost estimates. I should say I feel that these are rather conservative numbers, but I would rather be in the middle of estimates than be low and have people be disappointed. This is a consideration for the whole of the systems. And then, of course, could be pared down or changed to suit the desires
of the landowners. For the half-inch drainage coefficient for lateral 40's improvement, considering all of the construction, non-construction, as well as considering the full wetland mitigation, you're looking at not quite $1.8 million for an average per acre cost of $1,556. Spread then over 20 years would be $18.90 per acre. Lateral 42 for the half inch is $530,000 for a cost per acre of $16,077. Or $1,677.
Try
Numbers. Yeah, no. Sorry. Take backs. I was in word mode. I needed to get to number mode. So
the
that's
land would probably be worth that after it's settled.
the improvements are notably getting more expensive, as you would expect. There's, again, I know I've heard calls for a pared down version of the improvement. I would have absolutely no problem with that. We didn't spend a lot of time putting other cost estimates together for that because it's infinite, right? You could cut it off at any point. You could take any sort of route, come up with a cost estimate, but this is for a redo of the entire system to the half-inch drainage coefficient. This would do it, and this is your cost estimate. And then, as such, the 3/4 inch, the estimate is $2,048,000 for lateral 40. $675,000 for lateral 42, and the 1 inch is $2,576,000, with the lateral 42 being estimated at $709,000. You used cement reinforcement. Yes, that was another thing I wanted to mention and bring up. It is my intention and desire to have a very thorough conversation with landowners about their desired material and preference for in the event that these go to final plan productions. Just so it's very clear, communication is open and the overall desires of the district are met. There's pluses and minuses to everything. You can get some really good cost comparisons looking at it. I'm never opposed to competition. However, I don't want something to feel under-communicated and then there'd be heartburn because of that, so.
Some of this is not real deep, especially if you go to an inch coefficient.
Yes, yeah, that is something to consider as well.
You're at 3 feet almost on some.
Mm-hmm. Which is what we shoot for the absolute minimum.
Right.
Well, it would drain that.
Concrete, I feel a lot
better.
Yeah, if you can get some depth, but not too much depth. I play ball, but as far as something like this, something that's this flat and potential to be shallow, I think reinforced concrete's your safer option.
Yes.
So that's why we mocked it up and had the estimates the way that they are. And to tell you the truth, were I to write up an estimate for plastic, my estimate would not change. It's gonna be, you have to bid them apples to apples, you have to be comparable in that sense.
Yep.
Well, there's a place for plastic, but I don't think this is one.
Yeah.
Well, Minnesota's doing plastic through all their roads, the whole 9 yards,
I know,
everything.
but I think plastic is great, but I want 4-foot cover.
So, that is the rundown on this one. Any questions or anything along those lines else? I think that, was it August 20th, the date that I
August
heard
20th is
thrown
what
out?
you guys had in the packet, that works for our schedules and stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm wide open that day.
You got it at the bottom of the dredge ditch, so make that plain to the farmers.
Yeah, that's a point we'll probably talk about at the
There's
hearing
no
too, but,
freeboard on her.
well, even that, there should be some room that way that was recently cleaned out, but the other point is the road crossing, because we will either have it going in right before it crosses P30 and could potentially be limited by that, road crossing, cause that's a culvert in there right now, and it's probably not sized for an improvement project of this scope. Otherwise, I don't know if we can cross P30 and dump it in on the other corner of the intersection, which would potentially affect costs if we're going through the road, but
I can certainly, before the time of the hearing, have a conversation with Doug in the secondary roads department about that.
Because that,
well, and I mean, we might have to cross the road either way. If we dump it in on the west side of the road, that culvert might have to be replaced, so, it's
I don't know.
pick your poison potentially, but that's something that will definitely need to be evaluated by you.
I will make sure that has been evaluated and addressed
Okay, yeah,
before the time of the hearing.
that would be good. I'm sure we'll talk about it then, but it's definitely a point of consideration.
I just hate to tell the farmers that they're gonna have a grid outlet now when it's at the bottom of the dredge ditch, and it could be restricted by the road.
Yeah, I mean, being at the bottom of the ditch is one thing, but being restricted by the road that's 100 feet away is another. So, I mean, that ditch will fill up. But it's close enough to the main open ditch on 4 that it'll take that water level and equalize it, so. I guess just keep that in mind, but, if there's any other further questions here? If not, I think we were talking August 20th at probably 10, or what do you,
I think
did
that,
you have any time in mind? I think 10 would be fine. Should be a small enough district population wise, we should be good here in the boardroom.
The election center's not available that day. so-
Okay, well, that helps make
That
it.
answers that question.
But no, I mean, we should be fine here, so
We,
I,
we had the informational meeting just fine here, so. that-
yeah, hopefully we'll get a couple more, but we had most of the district represented for that. So I'd make a motion to set our hearing date for August 20th at 10 AM in the boardroom. Is there a second to that motion?
Sure.
Okay, thanks, Roger. Any further discussion or anything else we need? If not, all those in favor say aye.
I
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous, thank you.
Thanks all.
thanks, Tyler.
Thank
Marge,
you.
we'll get that, the
Perfect.
notice up to you here
Okay,
with that date in it.
okay, thank you.
Thanks all.
See you.
Alright,
Thank
have a
you.
good one, Tyler.
Stay dry.
Yeah, I'll hold my breath.
It's kinda dry out there.
No, it's wet.
It's better than I thought after I heard we could get 3 to 5 inches last night.
Yeah, I had only 3 tenths.
I didn't check.
Pushed it, we're supposed to get more tonight. Yeah, so.
Alright.
Saturday,
Marge, you got some repair requests for us whenever you're ready?
We got all those coming.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun.
What time is that supposed to be?
I suppose it'll be about 1:30. Oh, 1 o'clock.
4 o'clock, thank you.
2 o'clock, rain.
You ready?
3 o'clock heavy, just keeps getting better.
Yeah, something like that.
3 o'clock faucet turned on.
Yeah, heavy.
Fire hydrant.
Fire hydrant.
Marge and I have two that
Yeah, there's.
they're
There's
probably
some.
next week, aren't they?
Yep.
I filled them out too late.
Yep.
Alright, Roger, you wanna kick us off?
Yeah, I got one here on drain 99. It's, Rick Shufflebine's farm. There's a broken tile, it's about 5 feet in the field. And I think I'll have Grant fix it. Then I have another one here on HK 587, broken tile, large washout. My memory's right, we've done that one before. It's in Buffalo Township. And we'll send it to Brent. Then we have one in Plum Creek, drainage district 114, which Plum Creek doesn't have a lot of drainage districts. And that's Gary Ludwig. Clear a tree out, or trees,
Gary Lake Tide.
Okay.
Sorry.
and clean out open ditch. Now, what's he talking about, cleaning an open ditch? Did he talk to you?
Yeah, there's trees along,
Clear trees.
Just clear trees?
trees.
And it
dip
says
out.
dip out to original too.
How far did he tell you?
It's just.
Section 21 and 22.
22, it's maybe a half mile.
We're gonna, depending on the hours, we're gonna spend some money on that.
Depends how bad the trees are. The dipping out you wouldn't do that, but the trees could
We
be.
have to look at, yeah.
Do we want an estimate before we start on that? So we don't bump up to the limit?
Wouldn't hurt.
Can I have Wrightsville go out and look at it and get an estimate before we make up our minds on that, so that we don't go over our,
Yep.
or just get a bid, because I'm looking at, it's gonna push the limit.
Yep.
Is that all right with the rest of you guys?
Yeah.
And then I have one in German Township, WK 3589, and 2 broken tile, and the outlet pipe needs repair. That's in there, I'll have Brant do that one too. That's what I got.
Alright. Carter, you got a couple?
Yep, got, number 67 and District 67. That doesn't happen pretty good. Yeah, for Dave Rosenmeyer, there's washout in his outlet pipe, there in the ditch on the north side of McGregor.
Marge, you must have coordinated the numbers on that one.
Yeah,
No, just give me
I didn't even notice that till I started reading that, yeah. Number 67, DD 67. Have Reddings do that. And then, number 69 and DD 132 for Gary Lichtai. Washout in the ditch bank, needs repair, that's right on Old 18, just west of Wesley, there's a bad washout there. I know you guys have seen that, but.
What are you gonna do with that one? That one looks awful large.
Yeah, it is. Well,
We talked about that this morning, maybe that was before you.
I must have been before I was here, yeah, I guess. We're gonna need to,
It was fixed before, but
How big of a tile is it in there? Any idea?
don't know,
it's a lot of watershed and a fairly large tile.
What's the section? Wesley?
27, or
Wesley
excuse me,
34.
34, yeah.
I don't think the bank got established good enough from the last week.
Well, that's kinda what it looks like too,
Oh, okay.
is the ditch is all peeled away. There's
Oh,
another
right west of town.
one just south of that too on the gravel.
Is that right where it goes up here?
Yep, that's about right in here, we're washed out, and there's another one down here, but
Okay.
so. Yeah. Private.
I was gonna say, does the ditch go along there, or is that,
That's the ditch, right?
It follows the road.
Yep,
it follows the road?
yep, where
Okay.
that red line is, that's where the ditch is.
So we don't have that as a district facility, doesn't look like.
Which one are you looking at?
When it turns and goes along Old 18, we don't have a line there. But,
Have to look at
The
the
open ditch.
map.
yeah,
Yes. That, well, your blue is your tile.
yeah, but there's blue on the open ditches too.
Okay. It is on the other map.
Yeah,
On the old map, it's labeled.
Mhm.
Okay.
should be.
I just was looking at it right here, I don't know any history about it. Let's see if I can find it.
Well, you guys got any recommendations on what,
It's gonna take a ton of riprap.
well,
Yeah.
that's just it,
I
yeah.
don't know if you're gonna, it's gonna have to be large riprap, because water doesn't move. It
Right,
can't just be,
Hmm,
right. You
My
need good
suggestion
size rocks for that one.
well, that or hog slats or
Yeah.
something that you
yeah,
can kinda nail down
Yeah,
with some rebar, pound it in 6, 7 feet deep.
yeah, if you got a smooth, if you can cut it and make it smooth and then throw hog slats on top of that and
Yeah.
get grass to actually get started in there, then you'd be good, probably.
It's something
Anybody
that's
carrying
gonna, you're gonna have to do a little research on that one.
There's hog slats out there,
I seen an ad the other day in some magazine used hog slats.
okay,
yeah,
We've got them before and used them
mhm,
quite successfully on different projects. You stick them in upside down so it's round,
right,
and the grass grows between them, so.
mhm.
eventually, establishes better there.
They just gotta be able to get their roots down through there.
But I don't know if you're gonna have to haul some dirt in there to rearrange some of that, it looks bad.
It is, yeah. Well, Gary's got plenty of work for us this morning. But,
Yeah,
okay, well, why don't you send that one to Reitzel's and I'll talk with Dell or Tad and see what we can get figured out there. Right,
morning.
Marge, do you remember last time we fixed that, we bumped up to 40,000
This.
For this ditch,
fixing that, we spent a ton of money fixing that one.
this year?
Yeah, well, about
It was with,
4 years ago,
2019.
oh, with
FEMA
FEMA
request.
stuff,
It was,
Okay,
but
so it was,
that's another one where I'd get an estimate before I start, to
Yeah.
make sure that we're not gonna go
Yeah.
over 50.
yeah, cause over 50, we need a public hearing.
Right. I don't know, what's your idea, Marge?
that sounds good to get a
alright,
estimate. and-
I'll get an estimate then.
I think you'd be safe.
Yeah,
We'll do that.
especially if it's gonna take hardcore riprap or hog slats or whatever.
Yeah.
Hog slats is probably gonna be a lot cheaper, you'd cover a defined area.
Right.
Riprap would just dump and dump.
The only problem is you start these and it can.
Grow.
It grows.
Yeah,
Can get ahead of you on what the cost is.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
right, anything else for these repair requests?
I move the supervisors take care of the request.
I'll second that.
oh,
I don't have any this week, I'm gonna take my opportunity.
I got to make a motion once.
You did. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimous. Alright. requests. Alright, I think we are ready for discussion. Oh,
Thanks.
Marge, did you have anything else for us?
I don't believe
Okay.
so. Do you want me to take that?
No, I'll take it, you can take that one, I'll take this one, thank you.
Tom Singh, do you wanna talk about that at all, Carter?
On the road.
Yeah, yep,
Why I brought it up last week or week
Yep.
before. Tom wanted access to his 8 inch, maybe a 10 inch, they're not quite sure where it changes there under the road.
Do you want Marge in here for this?
Do I need to be?
Under 18,
probably.
and, yeah, I spoke with the DOT, and they're working on, I guess, investigating that, but all their equipment is over west now with all the flooding and stuff, so they have other priorities, and they're getting to it, but it's not
Yeah.
done yet, so.
Yeah.
And then once they figure out stuff on their end, under the road, then we can have a discussion.
Yep, and he had called me saying he's been working on this for a while, trying to figure out what the
Yeah.
deal was
Well,
or whatever.
Because our old maps say that there's an intake right there in the corner of their field, and it says there's an 8 that ends up there, and they can't find it anywhere. So, I don't know.
Can you find it on the other side of the road?
Yeah, they've located on the south side of the
Why don't they
road.
run a locator through their county's got one?
When I talked to Tom on the phone, he said they had ran a locator in there and they get
They get
partway,
stuck.
they get like right to the edge of the, shoulder of the road and it's just dead stop, that it's concrete. So like it's plugged off or something or capped or,
Right to the edge of the highway?
yeah, which doesn't make sense why they would run it into the right of way and then stop, so it makes me wonder if it was damaged or something when the road was put in or cut off when they put in 18, new 18.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, he just basically said he'd take any help he could get on it and stuff and,
Well, cause Gary Lichtai pattern tiled that farm north of theirs, and it's all draining down through this one little 5 inch that goes across the road. And,
and it
the
just,
Sinks farm is south side road there too, so there's a lot of acres dumping in there now, more than there used to be.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, they run a tile and butt it up against the shoulder of the road.
Yeah, and when I was talking to him, I said, just with the fact that if it's partway through the road or whatever, I mean, if we gotta deal with the state to get through boring or anything like that, I didn't know if we need to get an engineer involved or anything, but Carter said that the state's gonna do some more investigation and then once they accomplish that, we'll maybe have a direction from there, but
If you go back to history and all of that would have been field until they put the new highway in way back when.
probably.
If you went on the other side of the road, you think they could probe it in the ditch between the two highways? I'm just curious if they've looked at that.
It's flagged out there,
It is.
Yeah.
It is on the other side then?
not on the north side.
I'm just,
I don't think it crosses new 18,
okay.
and I could be off on my understanding from Tom, but I think it's just on the north side of 18 and it needs to come to the south.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't know why they'd stop it at the shoulder of the road,
Well,
but that's where I wonder if they disturb.
it used to be a field, or I mean, as far as the tile went and to give them an outlet.
That's where I kinda wonder if something was damaged during construction.
Yeah. Back in the 50s.
Yeah, whenever that was put in, so I mean, it's probably been an issue for a while, but, I don't know if we need to get more involved in this, but I mean, if we go boring through a road or something, that's probably gonna need a little bit more extensive work.
State's gonna have to get involved in this one.
Well, yeah, but to get them to pay, that's probably gonna, I mean, and I don't know that there'd be issues that way, but the coordination and all that's a little bit more than a normal
Well,
field tile that's got a washout in it.
if it originally went all the way through, they can't say no.
Can't stop it, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Carter touched on it already, but yeah, if the state's gonna look at it some more, we'll hopefully know more at that point in time. But, yeah. Food for thought for a later day. Alright, I think we are ready for auditor discussion,
Okay.
whenever you are, Tammy.
Okay, so next week we have update with secondary road foreman, Kossuth Regional Health Center, reaffirm 24-25 medical examiners from Kossuth Regional, reconsider allocation to Western Iowa Tourism, and, the allocation for the public libraries. They're asking to be back to 100% that was funded in fiscal year 24. And that's what we have on so far. I will not be here next week, I will be on vacation. And right, what?
Not allowed.
You don't get a say.
Nice try.
Right
No,
now we're-
enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right now, we're getting ready for a special election, that's September 10th for the city of Wesley. So we're getting ready for that. And then, of course, at the same time for the general in November. And then Christie's amping up for taxes, getting ready to get that done, which then gets us all ready for budgets come December time. So I did send you an email yesterday about compensation boards no longer being in effect as of January 1st. So I am going to be putting on a resolutions for July 23rd for you to either approve or disapprove of having a compensation board. I did talk to the other department heads, as I indicated in the email, or other elected officials, and we are all in favor of keeping it. Of course, that's your decision to make. I just wanted to supply you with the information so you had it before the meeting on the 23rd. The resolution does indicate that we'll have to draw lots to see which commissioners, if you call them, are 2 years and which are 4 years. So that if you decide to approve having one, we'd have to do that as well.
Would, if we would approve it, does everything just, other than the terms, everything just kinda stays as is then?
No.
Or no?
No, so if you
Well, I
read,
forgot the legislature was working on that.
yeah, if you read through the information that I sent you,
Yeah,
before everybody had to be, if you increased or decreased, you had to do it for everybody. That's no longer the case. You
Oh.
can pick and choose, and you can increase or decrease. So it's pretty much
So then-
completely changed.
so if the compensation board says, we want 5% for everybody,
Mhm.
then theoretically, the board can say, well, for the board of supervisors, we're gonna do 3%, and for the other elected officials, we're gonna do, or for the auditor, we're gonna do 8%, and for the sheriff, we're gonna do 10%, and
Is it
you
still
can
an
just,
upper limit, or is
You
it?
can, you can do it
go
either way.
above or
Yeah,
below?
yep.
So it's.
so what's the point?
That's what some people are asking.
Okay.
It's just a recommendation now. Everybody's different.
Yeah,
It really is no teeth in it at all.
no,
Cause we can do whatever you want now, the supervisors.
we are gonna have two new supervisors in January.
Right.
So that will be a change too. For them, you know, it may be helpful to have a compensation board, so, cause if there's no compensation board, you're gonna have to do your own research.
Right, yeah, it's still helpful information.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you have the compensation board, then they have to do that research.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, alright, we can talk about that the 23rd then.
Yeah, and that information is in your packets, so. Or in
I did get
email.
your email,
Yeah.
I did get your
Okay.
email, yeah.
thanks.
And then that's all I think I have.
Alright, sounds good. Jack,
Yeah, early childhood yesterday, the Kossuth Growing Healthy Kids wanted to, sent a letter to us, they wanted to move some money from home visits to credentialing to help pay for the cost of that. So more like $13,500 moved from home visits to credentialing to help pay for that. We had a board member resign, Melanie Flynn, and then we voted on a new board member, Candy Pasinius, who's going to join the board. We had election of new officers with me leaving in December, so now we have Lisa Hanson from Emmett County and Keith Wertz from Palo Alto County as president and vice president. I Smile Dental, Cherokee Public Health gave a presentation on what they're doing. So it's still a big problem with dentists don't see Medicaid or Medicare children because they don't get reimbursed very much. And so the dentists typically just don't see them, and it's quite a problem with getting those children seen. And there's a lot of high percentage of those kids, and when they get seen, it's 20, 30, 40, 50% that have decay problems and serious teeth problems. So don't know what the answer is there. But, and like I said, most of these dentists, local dentists, they can barely see the patients they have now. You gotta wait sometimes 6 months or a year to get in to see a dentist. So don't know what the answer is there, but. And, that was, I went through the budget expenditures and signed our new conflict of interest statements for 25. There was the home visit rates, we did vote to increase those from $165 to $200 per visit because of the costs have gone up. It wasn't, the 165 wasn't even coming close to covering the cost to do a home visit. And then the public health would do these home visits now. They wanted to do at least two per day or two, but anyway, then they have to file, now they have to give Celine a report as to how often, who they seen, and she has to track that for the state, so. That was pretty much, their next meeting is August 26th.
Alright, thanks. Anything else, Jack?
Nope, that's what I had.
Perfect. Roger, you got anything?
Well, it's too wet to have a drainage district association meeting in Spencer, so we'll have it in July.
Okay.
Isn't often it's too wet to have a drainage meeting.
Yeah, that's probably the first.
First time it's ever been too wet.
Anything else that you had, Roger? Roger, did you have any other meetings?
No.
Okay. Josh?
I had 2 meetings, but first off, I think we all just got an email that Summit is gonna have an informational meeting for the new route connecting Valero Lakota plant. And that'll be Monday, September 16th at 6 o'clock at the Eagle Center in Dakota.
I did put that on your calendar.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, put that down. Then I also had a Care Connections meeting last Tuesday. It was a relatively short meeting due to the flooding in Spencer. Melissa actually, her and Barry Anderson, the board chair, went out to Crosswinds Church on the northeast side of Spencer, and we had the meeting zoomed from there. It was all Zoom, and that particular place was allowing them to use an office for a short time here while things get cleaned up. So We did approve contracts for Health and Human Services, Life Connections, Siouxland Mental Health, Plains Area Mental Health, Exceptional Opportunities, Hope Haven, which Hope Haven's main office over in Rock Rapids was completely, pretty well destroyed. Horizons, Season Center, Spencer Hospital, Duncan Heights, Berry Hill, Prairie Ridge, Palo Alto Hospital, Osceola Community Hospital, and Respite Connection were contracts we approved. And you had a special funding request from Hope Haven. That was about it. Like I said, it was a relatively short meeting, and Jen Dickshorn, who is our fiscal year, or to present that report, her house was damaged and she was not present, so. A lot of messes over there. Outside of that, I did have also a Boone River Watershed meeting last Thursday down in Clarion that I showed up an hour early for. But, on accident. Yeah, we had presentations from Devin Storts with Ducks Unlimited. They have a program similar to the NRCS where you can sign up and, but it's a wider territory. They're looking to capture data from your farms as far as carbon sequestration, greenhouse gas data, both from hog buildings and from soil erosion. And so if you sign up with their program to do a cover crop, no-till, and I've got the pamphlet here, you can do different in-barn LED lighting. If you got a hog building manure management program, they'll pay edge of field buffers, $500 an acre. Like for cover crops, it's $40 to $50 an acre for 3 of the 5-year programs. So you do it every other year, and yeah, a lot of different. They'll pay for temporary fencing, if you're rotating livestock and that kind of stuff. So a lot of different things they offer, but they're just looking to capture data. So that's really what it's about. They are not affiliated with the NRCS, so you can't double dip there. You just sign up online. And even as a farmer, you want to just have a report done on your soil or on your hog building, you can sign up and just have them take data for your farm, even if you don't want to participate in the practice changes. So, yeah, it was interesting. Again, that was Devin Storts. We had Matt McDonald there with IDALS with the Water Quality Initiative update. They dished out about $16 million, and they're averaging 124 acres for cover crops per farm. It's going up every year. They had about 6,600 farms claims processed this last year. And this interesting statistic was 10 years ago, the state of Iowa had around 10,000 acres of cover crop, and now we're over 4 million. Just in perspective, the entire state's about 30 million acres of farmable ground.
So we're almost a 1/6.
We're almost 1/6 is cover crop, which is pretty significant. Their goal is 12 million acres, is what they're hoping to get to. Then he presented on wetland projects, showed us a couple that they've been working on. It's a 3 to 4 year process of establishing a water quality wetland project. They're trying to streamline that to stay ahead of water quality, so it doesn't take so long to just get the process rolling for that. They're designed to last 150 years for those that put them in, and the landowner is responsible for maintaining the sediment buildup and having them cleaned out and making sure they're working as they should. Talked about bioreactors, which I had heard of them before. They put wood chips under and basically as a water filter, natural water filter. So that was kind of neat. Wright County is participating in a fair amount of things with the watershed, through the Boone River watershed, and actually with their county farm, Wright County has now made changes on the ground the county owns to where you have to have a cover crop and field borders, I think was the next step. And so they're implementing their conservation practices onto the county farm, which, yeah, something to think about. And then, priority area for 2024 this year is between Wesley and Clarion, kind of that area of the watershed. Their goal is to get to 10,000 acres participating in programs, which would be up from 7,000. So that's about it for that. I have a handout for that, maybe you want to see it. On August 29th, at the Humboldt Museum, there is a pollinator party for beekeeping program, and they will feed you if you come, so. That's, oh, and then the last thing with the state legislature, the state has cut DNR funding from $22 million down to about $11 million, cut about in half over the past decade or more. So they're struggling with getting funding. The DNR is struggling with funding certain programs at the moment. Nope, that's. Oh, and then there's the last thing. Make sure our culverts are up to standard, changing the height, allowing water flow. I guess they're running blocked up culverts that are not low enough, or the water is not able to flow through the culvert.
Oh,
And
like
so
it's not at the right grade.
Not at the right grade, so they'll be speaking with engineers in different counties to address those issues, so. That's about all I got. And there's a map of the watersheds here, maybe you want to see that.
Alright. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
I had, CIJDC last Friday, financials and all that stuff as usual is in pretty good shape. We did have another closed session and that went well. We had our attorney present to review some stuff. Obviously can't talk about the substance there, but, meeting went pretty good. I think we're on the right track. We did make the decision to retain Allers and Cooney, for general HR and employment stuff as well, so that'd be similar to what we have here at Kossuth. And actually when we talked about it, we did a quick show of hands and basically 2/3 of the room already used them, so it was a pretty easy decision that way, keep things consistent for all of us, so I think we're keeping things on track there, so.
Kind of keeping themselves busy.
Well,
It's a big firm.
they're already
Yeah.
busy, but yeah, and then next week, the 12th through the 15th will be the annual conference for NACO. So I should be back for our meeting after that, that'd be, I guess not between the two meetings, but after the following one, so. That's what I got.
Do we know when ISAC is in August yet?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's, what is it?
registration is
I wanna say it's like the third week.
probably getting near closed if it hasn't already.
Okay.
Oh, registration for that should be open yet. I think.
Let's see, it is the 21st through the 23rd.
Okay, yeah,
When does registration close?
I don't know, I could try to get on the ISAC site and see.
Okay, that's fine, I can look for it too.
yeah, cause when we were talking about setting our meeting date, the next one in July, one of Gary McVicker mentioned in August, the fourth Friday would be during ISAC, so we'll do our CHADC meeting probably on the 30th of August, but, yeah, I had that kinda in the back of my head that that's the third full week in August there, so. Yeah, good question, any other questions or discussion here? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Alright, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. We are adjourned at 9:55. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. It's under 2 hours.
August 7th is when it ends,
August 7th?
is when registration ends.
Okay. Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
Alright.